Okay, lots of little jobs going on, and some of them I don't think are very film worthy, but I'll give you updates as I'm going along. Fire extinguisher is attached and in place. Thanks to Stu, we've put in 79 series tail lights and wired them up, and I've relocated the number plate and light inboard. It was out here where it was more likely to get ripped off on the tough tracks. Awning. So originally I was going to put a roof rack on top and attach the awning to that, but unfortunately that put the awning too far outboard. And it was difficult to make a mount for it here. So I came up with these really cool steampunk looking brackets from Bunnings, and I'll get 2 more of them it's not that heavy because it's aluminium and everything, but it is high, and so therefore it will flex. And I'm going to plate underneath inside the boxes to spread the load, and 4 bolts per bracket. That's the likely failure point, I think, is the alloy box, because it's not very thick alloy. So plate inside for each bracket, and then each attaching point has 2 bolts to the alloy channel. And the best thing is it's high enough for us tall fellas, and you can still open the gull wings on the box, giving the battery a really good charge with the Noco. And that'll be good. The wiring in here is, once I've connected that, and I may still yet put a Anderson plug on a lead for the Noco, so I can actually plug it in to the fridge, and that way charge the battery when we're stopped at a caravan park and we've got power or whatever. But we can also put solar into the the iTech World DC to DC converter. The awning is much better positioned over the rack now. It was originally going to be over here with the roof rack, so ditch that idea. Plus, I don't have the roof rack on. That's much better for clearance. These 2 blocks of wood are for the spare wheel. I've still got to work out a strap to strap the spare wheel in, but that's not going to be too much of a problem. I'll probably just put 2 tie-down points and put the strap over the wheel into place. That is the second spare, of course, because the first spare is where it should be, under here. What else? Yeah, got sick of wiring, so I took a break from wiring and installed the cheap, crappy Chinese snorkel and sealed it up well and truly. Did have to do a modification. Who would have thought I did a modification? This plastic hose, they actually wanted to go down here, which is very close to the headers, and this is again cheap plastic hose, so it would have melted. So a little bit of heat, and look, she's not a high horsepower motor, so I'm not real worried about crimping down the hose a little bit there. And rerouted it through here and into the front of the airbox. So that's pretty much ready to go. I will give that a final seal once I've done the final service, and hopefully that's going to enable us to do water crossings safely and with confidence. Still in the middle of wiring here, although that's nearly finished. I really just got to run wires into the cabin now, because I'm going to start work on the roof console, which is going up there, funnily enough, under the roof. And the roof console will hold all the electronics. Thanks to LCS for sending me this. I did have to pay full retail, but that's okay. Beautifully laser cut, and or actually water cut, I think, aluminium. And I can mount my UHF, wherever it is, UHF up in here. And hopefully, if I've got time, put a stereo in so that we've got tunes for the long transport legs. And we'll also have our USB charging, etc., for our phones, tablets, whatever. And being up at the roof, if we've got water up at the top of the roof there, then we're in a lot more serious trouble than worrying about electronics. So yeah, it just puts everything up out of the road and nice and protected. So that's where we're at. Update number 1 for this week. Okay, update time. Got my extra brackets from Bunnings, so the awning is nice and secured now. Still got to do my plates inside the box. That won't take long. There's just 4 plates and some holes and a bit of paint. Starting to get the sound deadening material ready to go for interior, and have been working. Hello dog. Hello dog. Have been working on the interior, removed the tank and the original seats so I can put in the sound deadening. So sound deadening is going on the floor, on the back wall and on the roof. I've also been dry fitting the roof console, fitted up the UHF antenna out here, and so that goes up into here. All the electronics are designed, all the electronics is right up here at the roof. If we've got water up here, we're in a lot more trouble than worrying about electronics getting wet. And this is what I was working on for hours and hours yesterday. This is the seat adapter from McKinnon's Cruisers, and it's a great bit of kit. The trouble is, of course, there's so much variance in the 45s that obviously they can't exactly get it perfect for every 45. So there was an awful lot of cutting, fitting, cutting, marking, cutting, marking, refitting to get it right. And I think I'm pretty good now, just giving it a coat of paint so that can harden up whilst I do the sound deadening in the car. The new wiring under the bonnet is all complete. I've just got to mark the fuse box and the relays, and that's all. A couple of little bits of wire to tidy up still in here, but nothing major. This is the locker wiring, which of course I'm putting the locker switch up in the roof console, so I've still got to run the locker wiring down underneath the cab and down to the rear locker. Got some new locking fuel caps because one, the fuel cap on the big tank, which the big tank sits underneath the tray, that's non-standard. It was sloppy and not waterproof, so again, we want to make sure we keep water out of the diesel, and new locking tanks and locking caps for the 2 tanks. What else? Had the transmission hump out. I think I took some still photos of that. I'll put them up now if I did, just to get access to do the breather for the transfer case, and I couldn't find a breather on the transmission anywhere, so I guess we've just got to deal with that and maybe have to change transmission oil after the water crossings if need be. There's the tank that is going back in. I can't remember how big these tanks are. I think they're about 50 or 60 litres, and I haven't no idea how big the big tank is underneath there, but I'm guessing at least 100 litres, so that gives us a really good range, hopefully. I've also been working on the roof console, which is a really nice bit of laser or water cut alloy from LCS, and putting stereo into that and the UHF. So we've got our tunes, we've got our comms, and that will have, there's a power circuit that I've run from the new fuse box up into the top as well, so that's all separate to the original vehicle wiring. Here's the sound deadening that's going in. I've just had the heater on whilst I've been getting everything ready for painting, so making the shed a little bit warmer, because it is a bit chilly here at the moment. It's not too bad. I think it's about 12 degrees this morning, so it's not cold. Anyway, that's the latest update. I'll try and get some time lapse of installing the underfloor sound deadening, and then hopefully installing the seats, etc. Man, I've still got a long way to go, and I'm down to 7 days. Tonight I'll be getting on the boat, so I've got a lot of work to do. Anyway, keep going. Alrighty, update time. After many attempts at fitting and refitting and changing and all that sort of crap, the seat base is in, the tank's in, The tank's rewired. I have my sub tank and main tank fuel cock here, so we can switch between that. No electronics required. Seat belts, new seat belts are installed. Seat runners are in. Just got to fit the seats now. Man. This has been kicking my ass. There's the seat. Okay, seat runners are in. Everything's bolted down. Everything's looking real good. Time to fit the seats. Righto, getting down to the wire now. It's now Thursday afternoon. I get on the boat Monday night. I'm nearly there. What have we achieved? Alright, all the awning stuff is finished. I didn't get the plate underneath, but I put some pretty big washers underneath, so hopefully that'll be okay. The spares, the second spare is now attached with the strap. I may put another strap just to hold it at the front there, but that seems to work quite well. You've seen inside the boxes, so I'm not going to show you that again. But the really cool part is we have seats that are already dirty because the dog decided he wanted to get in and try them out. But also, excellently, we have tunes. The roof console is in, and we've got some storage space up in here. Stereo, which is Bluetooth. Got the UHF underneath there. Locker, just got to finish hooking up the locker wiring underneath. USB outlets by 2. Sub-tank fuel gauge, which works backwards. Really weird, but anyway, that's okay. I did just notice I've got a little hole up there that I've got to silicon up. There was a shooting spotlight at some stage in this truck, and there is a little plug in there, but this console's pushed that little plug out, so a bit more silicon. We have a new cup holder slash phone holder from Paul Meyer. That's an awesome bit of kit, and he has sent this to me to torture test on corrugated roads. It also comes with this really cool phone holder. I already have the go on there, I haven't got my glasses on. I already have the quad lock up here for my phone, but this has got a couple little magnets underneath here, so that's cool. We're gonna test that out and see how it goes, see how it survives the corrugations. The fuel tap, we now have a working sub tank. So the sub tank in underneath the tray, which I think I've shown you before, that's it there. It takes somewhere around about 105 litres, which is really cool because that gives us a lot of range. So what I've used is a boat tap to switch between the main tank, which is under the seat, and just a bit of paper, and the sub tank at the back, and so no electronic changeover. And of course we've got fuel gauge here for the main tank and fuel gauge up here that reads backwards. That's okay, as long as you know that. She's up on the hoist at the moment because I'm just doing its final oil change and starting to sort out what spares I'm taking, etc. And then I've got to put away stuff. What else on this side? Oh yes, okay. On this side, another roof pocket up here for gear, which is very handy for storage. And I think that's it. I've got to start kitting out these boxes now. Been to Bunnings and bought some storage bins with lids so I can actually sort out my spares and my cooking gear and all that sort of stuff. So that's good. This box I've still got to seal up too. It's got a few little holes in it that need sealing up from the tropical wet weather. But I think Natasha's ready. Just a couple of little minor mechanical things to do. Nothing major. I've got to adjust the front wheel bearings. There's a little bit of play in them. I did want to rebuild the whole hubs and put on the disc brakes, but that didn't happen, so we're going with drum brakes. That's okay, it adds to the adventure. Drum brakes work really well after they get wet in water crossings, but that's okay, we're going slow anyway. So look, that's it. Look, I really want to invite you to follow along with the trip. We're going to document it on the socials, Facebook and Instagram, and we'll upload some short videos. We're not going to be able to upload full episodes because I just don't have the editing ability on the track, on the road. We will take footage every day, and then when we get back, I'll actually do a Tassie to the Tip series on YouTube, a series of videos. But we will upload shorts, we will update Instagram, and please remember we've got a charity. We've got a charity we're involved with, which is Young Veterans. So if you can spare some cash, there is a Facebook donation page. I'll put a link down in the description below, and maybe if you're watching on tablet or PC or whatever, I'll put a link up here. And if you can help, that would be terrific. They do some wonderful things for young veterans with mental issues and health issues, etc. Stuff that the government doesn't seem to want to take responsibility for. So they're a great cause, and we're fantastically happy to have them on board as our nominated charity for this trip. Anyway, it has been a hellish couple of weeks trying to get this old truck ready. Fingers crossed, hopefully she is. Look, at the end of the day, she's a pretty simple old truck, and we should be able to fix hopefully anything on the track if anything goes wrong. So that'll be interesting. Again, we're going to document that and put it all on the socials, and then on YouTube when we get home. Anyway, that's it for this week. I guess next time you see me, I'll be probably on my way to the Big Island on the boat from Tasmania. Have a good one. Cheers.